shot, and it's a wonderful shot, and it brings up the first.
This is Lara with Wired 868.
It's interesting you speak about the not wanting to single out people, because we always look at cricket as a individual sport within a team kind of thing. How do you view it? How does the team help when really the team is only together? It appears while they're fielding.
No, that's not true. I mean, any batsman, any good batsman will tell you. You see, the guy at the other end is a key component in anything that I'm doing. So, batting with a Chandrapal or Jimmy Adams was the most amazing thing for me. My partnership with those guys were outstanding. So that is a very important part. Messages coming from inside. I don't believe that when you're batting, you bat for yourself. First of all, as I said, there's a partner on the other side. First of all, there's a scoreboard telling you exactly what your team position is and what you are required to do. So it's not a lonesome game. You know, it's not golf or one of those things. It's a game where the spotlight might be on you. You know, if you nick you inside, you have to wait for your next time to bat. I mean, in football, you can play nonsense for 85 minutes and score 2 goals in the last 10 minutes, and you're a hero. Cricket, you are asked a lot of questions, but it's still very much a team game. Be it the 11 guys on the field or the 2 guys walking out to bat. Greenidge and Haynes knew exactly what they had to do to put the team in a good position. With Viv Richards following, with Larry Gomes coming after, with Clive Lord or Dujon, these guys knew exactly what they had to do as individuals, but on a team level. So it's not one of those games that you feel stranded at one end, Brett Lee bowling the ball, and it's just you and Brett Lee alone. You don't get that feeling.
Well, you mentioned playing with Adams and Chandrapal. How did they make your job easier?
Well, simple. If I didn't bat much with Sir Vivian Richards. I actually batted once with him. But a player like Sir Vivian Richards would have been Carl Hooper. So 2 attacking players. So I like to dominate. Carl Hooper liked to dominate. And you tend to try to outdo each other, right? And that sometimes fails. It doesn't lend itself to a good partnership. Batting with Chandrapal or Jimmy Adams, I will dominate. These guys played second fiddle, and they played it very well. They knew what they wanted to achieve. They knew the role that they had to play. If Brian is on the attack, we're going to, support him. And that's the sort of player that I like batting with, majority of the time. And I mean, most batsmen will tell you that. Having that partner who's just going to give the support. And I say it a lot of times. When McGrath came back for a second spell at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or a third spell, and there's 6 overs, he's going to average 6-7 overs, and that's one of my nemesis. Jimmy Adams will face majority of those 6 or 7 overs, because he knew that I was doing very well at the other end, and if we keep Brian away from McGrath, the team is going to benefit. So those are things that that went on a cricket team that people may watch from the side and just enjoy, but there are a lot of tactical moves that are involved.
Okay, I remember a famous innings right here at the Oval, of course, against Australia. Before your century, you're on the way to the century, and you had to face Brett Lee just before lunch. It was a fierce spell. You could tell us anything about that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, 1993 was the first time I played a test match in Trinidad. It was against Pakistan, and I got to 96. And, a little left-arm spinner. I think it was the last over before the end of the day. And, they just brought on Mujtaba was his name. And I thought, well, should I go for it in this over, or should I, wait till tomorrow? And I decided to wait till the next day. So he tossed a couple outside the off stump. I blocked. And then he bowled one, hit the rough, hit my pad, and went on a roll onto the stump. 96 in my first game in Trinidad and Tobago. 10 years it took me before I even came close. So I scored hundreds around the Caribbean, all around the world, but none on my home ground. And in the first game of that 2003 series against Australia, the first innings, I got to 91 again, bowled around my legs by Hug. And in the second innings, we were chasing somewhere around 400, sort of an impossible total. And I got to 81 the fourth evening and came back the next morning, and Brett Lee looked fresh. You know, I'm not sure if he had the new ball. I think he had the new ball yet, but he was fresh and he was steaming it. And it was maybe the fastest, it was not maybe, it was the fastest 5-6 overs I've ever faced in my life. And I crawled to 91, but I found that I was facing Brett Lee all the time. The next end was McGill, a leg spinner, and Sarwan was at the next end, and he was just blocking and hitting the occasional boundaries, but never seemed to want to get a single to get me down on strike, because I felt that if I got to McGill, I will get my 100 very quickly. I approached Sarwan mid-pitch and I said to him, you know, give me an opportunity, let me get down there, you know, I'm struggling up at this end. And he looked at me and he said, you know, you stay up there, you're looking very good, you know, Brett Lee's bowling, you're looking very good against him, I'd stay down here. Well, eventually I pinched a single, I got to McGill, and I got my first 100 in Trinidad and Tobago, and that was something that I always wanted. I think if it's, you know, the crowd that has supported me throughout my career, through thick and thin, was definitely the Trinbagonians, the ones that, you know, I'm home here. And I felt I walked out many times, you know, scored little or nothing, and walked back in and walked back into an applause. And it's just amazing to have done that in Trinidad. It took that long. Actually, I think I dropped my bat and applauded the crowd for waiting so many years for me to do so. But it was a very special feeling.
Okay. What other, of course, you have a couple of historic knocks. Which ones really stand out for you? Which ones you treasure the most, you think? Is it possible to pick out?
It is hard. And, you know, a lot of people have done that exercise for me, you know, by, you know, what is their favorite? You know, even the international magazine, I think it was then, felt that my 153 not out against Australia in Barbados was the best innings they've seen since Sir Donald Bradman in 19 whenever. But for me, the one innings that stands out is a week before that, before Barbados in Jamaica. I was under so much pressure as an individual. I felt that my 213 in that match, right, to produce a victory for the West Indies, may not have been as dramatic as the 153 in Barbados and how it ended. But that innings for me showed me how strong I was mentally, because my back was against the wall and a lot of things were going on negatively around me. We just came from Trinidad scoring 51 in the fourth innings of a match. So it's total embarrassment. We just lost our 6th test match straight, 5 in South Africa and the 1 in Trinidad. So Jamaica for me, and producing such an innings under that environment was me digging deep.
When you were playing, who were the contemporaries? Was there anyone at that point in time that you looked to as maybe role model might be too much, but somebody you could take things from and apply to your own, you know, your own game and your own challenge to be the best?
Well, mine came before I started. So my first batting hero was Roy Fredericks. I was a left-hander. I was tiny as he was. He was very short and strapped, and I was, you know, frail and very small as growing up, and opening batsman as well with some teams. So Roy Fredericks was my first hero. But as I got older and I got into the mix and I started playing first-class cricket and looking and having a close relationship with some of the players, I took from Desmond Haynes, I felt that his attitude and his resilience was something that I wanted. Gordon Greenwich's technique is something that I wanted. Viv Richards' bordering on arrogance approach is something that I wanted. You know, so I picked something from each and every single player and, you know, put it into my game. You know, I wanted to be technically correct. I wanted to be tough during periods when it needed to be tough. And I wanted to dominate and destroy you when it's time to destroy you. So I put all that in my game. So I learned a lot very, very quickly.
Were there any players from outside of cricket?
Alan Border. Yeah, Alan Border, I watched him here at the Oval, scoring I think 96 against the West Indies, 4-prong pace attack, while the entire team around him just folded. So as a left-hander as well, again, diminutive, I felt that he was somebody that I love. anybody that batted left hand. It was David Gower, Alan Border, Graham Yallop. I watched a lot of cricket, and if I couldn't watch cricket, I listened to a lot of cricket, and I appreciate all these guys.
Okay. Did the Lara Tendulkar comparisons, let's say, ever get under your skin or distract you at all? Just like now, it's all Messi, Ronaldo for years.
No, I felt that I was playing a team sport, right? And when you play a team sport, yes, you want to be at the top of the tree. You want to be that branch that really bring the team together, bring the team success. Coming with it is individual comparisons. So people would single you out, and sometimes your players weren't very happy with that. Be it a team sport, but so it happened. You're always going to have a man in the match. You're always going to have somebody who is going to be more prominent than the other. So comparisons with Tendulkar, it wasn't something that I, went on the computer and compared stats or anything like that. I just felt that, he was a great player. And Ricky Ponting was also a good player. And they had players that, silently, didn't have maybe the exposure that myself and Tendulkar was having, but they were giants. Rahul Dravid, giants in the game. And they did a tremendous job as well. So that comparison for me was good. It was inspiring. It was not overbearing, and I felt that for 17 years that I played, that I think I handled it pretty well.
Okay. At that high level as well, when you have so many gifted players, of course, what makes the difference between being a really, really good player and being a legend?
How much you put aside your talent and use your mental strength, your confidence. That I've seen a lot of brilliant players, talented players fall to the wayside because they didn't have that mental side of it, which actually, when you get to international sport, plays a far greater part than your ability. Ability is there. Everybody has ability. Messi, Ronaldo, or the young Mbappe. All these guys have a talent, but who's hungrier, who is more ready than the other person, is the ones that are who gonna achieve.
Okay.